I'm bigcal and welcome to my world. Today another non-gaming pickups video. Not very often I do these because most of my money does tend to go on games, so there are plenty of those pickup videos, but every now and then I do like to do these non-gaming pickups videos. Excuse me, just let me get settled a bit. Right, so we'll start off with a couple of books. The first one is the National Wrestling Alliance, the untold story of the monopoly that strangled pro wrestling. Jim Cornette highly recommends his book. I asked him on Twitter which book I should read if I wanted to read up about the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. The National Wrestling Alliance basically was sort of like the Mafia of wrestling. They were a board of directors sort of thing, you know, like the commission. You got all your promoters, which were like the heads of the families. They all had their own territories. They would run their own territories. They would share talent and things like that. Yeah, so that's what that was all about. And very interesting reading up, because while I'm a huge wrestling fan, or at least I was, I don't really give a shit these days about the current stuff. And while I know the basics of the National Wrestling Alliance, there's still a lot that I don't know. You know, I have the basics of when it sort of came about, why it came about, but I definitely wanted to read a lot more into it, so I'm very excited to read this particular book. Jim Cornette recommends it highly, so for a guy like him who's a huge wrestling historian, as well as obviously being a talent and a booker and done everything in the business, for him to recommend it, it must mean it's pretty good, so very excited to read through that. And another book is about the actual Mafia. Yes, kind of similar. I bought these at the same time. I thought it was a nice contrast. You got the National Wrestling Alliance, with like the wrestling version of the Mafia, and then you have 5 families, the actual Mafia. Now this guy, Selwyn Rabb, or Raab, I don't know how it's pronounced, Selwyn Rabb, I'm just going to say. I've watched a ton of Mafia documentaries over the years, a ton. And he's always in them, always. And it always, it comes up with his name at the bottom of the screen, author of 5 families. And for years I've been meaning to finally get around to reading this book, so I finally bought it because I'm a huge Mafia fan and love the history of the Mafia, the American Mafia mainly. And this book is all about, of course, the first 5 families when Lucky Luciano brought them all together and created the commission and things like that. So very excited to read this. But look at that! It's huge. It's like half the thickness of my head, and I have a fat head. It's mental. It's almost 800 pages long. So yeah, but at least it's going to be very interesting because it's the Mafia and they did a lot of shit over the years, so I doubt it's ever going to get dull. I do have some more books, but those are right at the bottom of the pile here, so I'll go through some Blu-rays. No, I will start with DVDs. Yes, very, very rare I buy DVDs unless you can't buy it on Blu-ray. One such TV series is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the entire collection. And this cost me, I think, 23 quid, brand new. It was in the Black Friday sales, so very happy with that. And Joss Whedon, the guy that created it, basically said it's not going to come out on Blu-ray, same with Angel, just because it was shot, for standard definition. The early seasons were not shot in widescreen, so it will not translate well to Blu-ray at all, and he doesn't want to ruin the experience. Because I think they released it on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, and they made it, they stretched it out on that to fit widescreen to make it HD, and it looked awful. So he never plans on letting it get released on Blu-ray. So got the entire collection here. I did own season 1 already on DVD, but it's nice to get the entire collection in one big box set, and I will probably marathon that at some point in time. Oh, put that on there. Oh, I do have another DVD in this pile of Blu-rays. Back to Mafia stuff. It is Bonanno, A Godfather's Story. Joseph Bonanno, he was one of the 5 heads of the 5 families back in the day. Now I watched this online first because it was a mini-series, Basically, sort of same sort of thing that they did for The Last Don, which was a book by Mario Puzo. And they released it as a mini-series in like 3 or 4 parts. It was like 4 hours long. I think this was about 3 hours long. Really enjoyed it. I thought, I'll see if it got released on DVD. And there it was on Amazon, used. I think it cost me £2. Got it in the post. I was looking at the back. Runtime, 90 minutes. They basically clipped the hell out of it and just threw it on a DVD disc to sell, which is utterly disgraceful, to be honest. It's missing like over 2 hours of content. Yeah, so it's a good job I only paid about £2 for it, because I'm never going to watch this at all. I've got the copy that I watched online saved to my computer now. That's going to be the one that I'll be watching. This can feck off. Right, Blu-rays. Okie dokie. We have Captain America Civil War to add to my MCU collection. Trying to buy them all. I own over half of them now. I think maybe I've only got 5 to get, 5 or 6, and there's like 21 ending with the Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, I'm building up my collection. Big fan of this film, really loved it. I've watched it again on the Blu-ray. It was just great. The fight scenes are fantastic. Everyone's fighting in the airport, and then you have just Captain America and Bucky against Iron Man at the end. Really, really fun film. One of my personal favourites. And speaking of Infinity War, I bought Avengers Infinity War because it's fucking fantastic. It was an amazing film. You know, the culmination of 10 years building up to Thanos, basically, and we got this, and it was amazing. I cannot wait for the second part later this year. Is it in April it comes out? I think it's April. Yeah, cannot wait for it. It's fantastic. Again, I've already watched this again on Blu-ray. Amazing film. Absolutely love it. Now we have a film. If you remember in one of my previous non-gaming pickups videos, I bought a Blu-ray just because I had to, you know, make up the full £20 in my cart on Amazon to get free delivery. It would have cost me more in delivery if I didn't add like an item at £2 to make it up to £20. This was basically the same, and ironically the first Blu-ray for the last one was Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and this time it's Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters, the sequel. Not nearly as good. A bit disappointed the whole Sea of Monsters thing. I thought it was going to be, you know, a lot of it set, you know, in the sea, and there was going to be huge, giant, ancient sea creatures and monsters. Sadly, there was very little of it actually on the sea with any kind of monsters. There's this one shot where it's like this big, dark, evil sea, big whirlpool or whatever, and there's all these giant shark fins coming out. And that's basically all we get, really, of the sea. And then they go into the whirlpool and they go sort of underwater then. And yeah, a bit disappointed, but I enjoyed the film, so it was cheap. Added it to my cart to get free delivery, so yeah, I'm okay with that. Next is Escape Plan 2. This was nice and cheap, obviously, that's why I bought it. It was in the was it the Black Friday sales or the January sales? One of the two, on HMV's website of all things. They're usually extremely expensive. Yeah, so this was nice and cheap. The first film is fantastic. This one, nowhere near as good, but still a decentish watch for the first time. It was cheap. I added it to my collection because I like the Escape Plan series. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the third one that's going to come out, which will hopefully tie up some of the loose ends from this one. Yeah, so that's that. Next is Kingsman, The Golden Circle. Love the first film. The first film is really fantastic. This sequel, I remember it getting, you know, it got shat on by a lot of people. Personally, I thought it was almost as good as the original. You know, so that's me. I thoroughly enjoyed this film, so picked it up on the old Blu-ray. And also cannot wait for the third film to come out at some point. Don't know, is it coming out this year? I don't know, and then they keep telling us different people are going to be in it. They keep telling us the actor that plays Eggsy, oh, he's not going to be in it, and then it's like, oh, no, he's in it now. Oh, no, wait, he isn't. I have no fucking clue who's going to be in the bastarding film because they keep changing the minds. But by they, I mean the people that report news on the internet. Yeah. Okay, next, another sale item that I got was Star Wars Rebels Season 4. I'm pretty sure I only own Season 1 at the moment, but this was really cheap, and for one of the later seasons, I think there was only 5 seasons of this, so for the second to last season to be cheaper than the other seasons before it at the time, I just had to pick it up. So this will be sitting on my shelf until I buy the other seasons and rewatch the show. It's absolutely fantastic though. Thrawn shows up in this one, and Thrawn is so awesome. Yeah. And speaking of Star Wars and TV shows, I cannot wait for the final season of Clone Wars to come out later this year. It's going to be epic. Next is my autobiography in film form, Sexy Beast. Yeah, looking at that, you probably don't really know what it is, but it's a British gangster film basically. And for people who know British gangster films and British films, the 3 headlining names on here: Ray Winston, Ben Kingsley, Ian McShane. You can't go wrong, and trust me, it's a really good film, and Ben Kingsley's character is incredible. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it just for Ben Kingsley, because he's fantastic in this film. It's a really, really good film. And now, these ones I was waiting on to do this video, they arrived yesterday. I was still in bed, so I had to go collect them this morning, because the place that they get sent to only opens between 7 AM and 12 PM. So you only have that window after 12 in the afternoon. You're fucked, because, I don't know, they're too fucking lazy to open up all day like everywhere else. Yeah, so picked these up, a nice big sale on the www.dvd.co.uk, the official distributor, after Silvervision got fucked and they moved to this other place. And I rarely buy WWE Blu-rays anymore, because after Silvervision got kicked out and they put this new company, Fremantle, in charge, the prices skyrocketed. They're fucking insane. I would never buy a Blu-ray from them at full price, ever. Most of their sale items are usually still a rip-off, but I did get a good offer with these. All of them cost me 20 quid. So the first one is The True Story of the Royal Rumble. Yeah, I haven't opened them yet, still in the packaging. Basically a big documentary about the Royal Rumble, how it was created, and then they go through most of the big moments of the Royal Rumble, and then I think there's a second disc with a bunch of Royal Rumble matches on it, or matches at least from the pay-per-view. Yeah, so very happy to have that, because I love the Royal Rumble. It's one of my favourite events of all time. And then we have the Royal Rumble 2017. I don't remember this one much at all, and it was only a couple of years ago. But because I love the Royal Rumble, I want to own all of them. I have the DVD anthology set with like the first 20, and then I also have, I think, from 2009 onwards, all on Blu-ray, with the exception of like maybe 2 or 3 now, just because again I haven't been buying them brand new because they cost a fortune. They very rarely go on sale. But this one was last year, it cost like 3 quid, so happy to add it to my Royal Rumble collection, although I don't see myself unwrapping and watching this anytime soon. The History of the Hardcore Championship. This is such a fun watch, mainly because I looked at the match list and it's like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. The hardcore title in WWE was such fun, especially when they had the 24/7 rule, and you had like Crash Holly battling the Mean Street Posse in the airport at a hotel, in like some children's play area. It was just mental. You know, you had guys just hitting each other with these really thin, like tin foil, garbage cans and shit, and yeah, it didn't look like it hurt, but it was just fun watching. All the different unique spots they would try and do. This is 2 Blu-ray discs, I believe, is it? Yep, 2 Blu-ray discs full of those kind of matches. It just really is such a fun set. I would highly recommend it to anybody. And then, just like we had the true story of the Royal Rumble, we have the true story of WrestleMania, which is again a documentary about WrestleMania, how it came about, and then all the big moments of the WrestleManias, up to when it was released, and then a bunch of matches on the second disc. And again, while I do own all the WrestleManias, except for like the last couple, again because of the prices, just like the Royal Rumble set as well, it is nice to have some of the matches on Blu-ray as well. So yeah, again, bought it was cheap, but I do like the document. I'm a big fan of the documentaries more than the matches on, because usually I've got the matches on other sets or the actual event shows, DVDs and things. And lastly in the sale is WWE 24. It's one of those things where they do documentary things, and it is WrestleMania Monday, and basically on about the Raw shows that happen the night after WrestleMania. Especially over the last like 6 or 7 years, it's usually hyped up as like a really big event, because you've still got a lot of fans from around the world that they come to see WrestleMania, but they also stay for sort of the WrestleMania week with the Raw and SmackDown afterwards. Mainly the Raw, it's live. You've got people from around the world. They just sort of a lot of the times they do entertain themselves with chants and things, and it can get really bad. But at the same time, the WWE do try and do something big and very, very memorable on these shows. So a lot of big moments like Brock Lesnar returning, someone cashing in Money in the Bank, a big match happening, things like that. So yeah, that's just talking about all those different things that have happened. And lastly, 2 more books in sale at the Works. They basically got a sale on everything, so trying to get rid of everything to get new stock. So I've got a Star Wars book, got the visual dictionary for The Last Jedi. These kind of books are really cool because you get some information that you just don't get in the films. There's bits about Snoke in here, about some of the Resistance members, some of the Imperials. You got Snoke's guards, which they were just guys in red that died in the film that we knew nothing about. We get some information in these books, so it's nice and cheap. It was actually even cheaper than what it says on there when it got to the till. I think it was only £2, so yay. And lastly, another book in the works. This one was also cheaper at the till, but this one is Black Panther: The Ultimate Guide. It's a pretty thick book as well, and hardback. Supposed to be $17.99, down to $5, down to $3 at the till, £2. And Black Panther, I knew little about him before the film came out. The film was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I liked the character in the film, so I thought, for that price, I'll be happy to buy the book and learn more about him. So that is everything, I believe. So those are my non-gaming recent pickups. So thanks for watching. I'm Big Cal. I'll be back again soon, hopefully with another video. Not one of these. It'll be a good while before there's a non-gaming pickups video again. But yeah, stay tuned for all my other videos on YouTube or bigcalsworld.co.uk. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go back to watching Punisher Season 2 because it just came out today, and I'll see you again next time.